Joey, what about Jake Trbojevic last night in the sheds?
Jakey, I just love him. Then someone threw a punch at Jake too during the game.
Really saying, get
Honestly,
back, mate. Get
don't
back,
worry about
mate.
being suspended. If you punch Jake Trbojevic, you are banished from this country. Gone. You just cannot hit Jakey. He's an absolute national treasure. And then,
Boom.
oh, he's just the best.
There are lots of memes floating around
Oh,
on
he's
social
just the
media about
best.
that.
You just see how much he loves the game, but also loves his club and his team. Grew up in Mona Vale. Always wanted to play for Manly. We love you, Jake. Everyone in Rugby League.
Well done, Jakey, and well done to the Seagulls. 18-16 over the Melbourne Storm, their third win in a row, but it all came down to one moment at the death. Harry Grant penalised, so the ref didn't pick it up, but one of the players had tipped Daly Cherry Evans up to do a captain's challenge, and the bunker ruled it to be a penalty. Freddie, have we gone too far, or are you happy with that?
Oh, no. It was Harry Grant that brought this play to attention last year when he did it to Daniel Atkinson. So, I think if you asked Harry, he'd realise he did wrong, and he didn't cost the team the game. That incident cost the team the game because he took a goal, kicked it, and then what happens is because he was in the middle of doing a drop kick, the goal's kicked right in front, 10 metres out. So you can't miss it.
So would you look at changing the rules so the penalty happens where, because it's always been where the ball lands. Do you maybe look at changing the rule so that?
But when you look at that incident, you feel like getting a penalty 10 metres out, it's a pretty big consequence for what he did. But like I said, Harry actually brought attention to this play, running through and hitting people's legs, and there was a discussion about it, and pretty much everyone now is of the understanding you don't touch your leg.
It's gone too far, but.
Here's
And
the
by
one
the
on
letter
it.
of the law, it's a penalty. But look, in the game of chess during the game, there's no reward for a really good defensive set. And just say you defend a really good set and you get the opposition and they play the ball on their 30. In years gone by, if it was slow play the ball, the kicker would have to be back 10, 15 metres, which means you'd get the ball and bring it back to your 40. So the game of chess would start and then you get down and get a repeat set. Nowadays, if you get a bad attacking set and a slow play the ball, the kicker stands on the advantage line and kicks at 60 metres because they know they can't get hit. Now, they should be able to get out of marker or get out of that tight defence and tackle the kicker above the waist. I just think it's gone way too far because there's no reward for controlling the ruck or a really good defensive set where you can get out and really pressure the kicker. I understand there's, in years gone by, players' legs, but I think it's gone too far. But by the letter of the law, it's a penalty.
Yep.
Well, that's different to what you're saying.
Yeah.
He hit his leg. I mean, you just can't hit their leg from now on. That's it. And that was shown last year. He ended up going to the judiciary, Harry, and he beat it, so he didn't get any time off. But you just can't do it. Don't hit their leg while they're kicking.
This game was similar to the Origin, where people are going to knock Melbourne, but you can only play as well as the opposition lets you. Manly were nearly perfect, the way they completed, the way they built pressure, the way they played. Geez, I love this try. Had me out of my seat cheering. But Manly just did not let them play. Did not let the pressure off. They were incredible, Manly.
I reckon that could be a turning point for Manly. That's a big win in Melbourne. Not too many teams win down there, and you can see they were pretty stoked about it. That could give them a lot of confidence going into the finals.
What about another big talking point coming out of it was Nelson Asofa-Solomona and that elbow on Jake Simpkin. The charges have come out just a short time ago. So he's copped 2 weeks with an early guilty plea.
Well, we saw it in Origin with Zach Lomax. He gave a penalty away with the ball in his hand. You just can't do it. It's dangerous.
Yeah, well, there was a bit of controversy after the game too because he was deemed Cat 1, wasn't he?
He didn't come back on.
No, he didn't come back on.
Yeah.
So there's the one.
So
in
they're saying
Origin.
it should have been sin bin.
Should he have been bin?
Well, the argument, people say, oh, they shouldn't lay all over him, but you just can't hit him in the head with an elbow. And generally, I'd say they know where their head is when they're lashing out.
It's reckless.
Mate, that's a sin bin. If he's getting 2 weeks, that means it should have been a sin bin on the game. Simple as that. Like Zach got penalised for the Liero one. They kicked a goal, they ended up winning the game by 2 points. So that ended up crucial, but that was definitely a sin bin. Yeah, flush on the cheekbone.
What about the Storm? Craig Bellamy was filthy after the match, said he wasn't so much frustrated, he was disappointed, which is often worse to hear that from your coach. And he said, particularly given it was old boys' day and they were just trying to take shortcuts and not putting the effort in.
Well, shortcuts come with fatigue. Manly put them under fatigue. They only let them play as good as they let them. They just amplified the pressure. And when pressure comes on, people make mistakes. That's what happens.
They made 16 errors, Melbourne,
Yeah.
which is very unlikely. That's what would be frustrated by Craig.
That was the bad one.
That was a bad one.
He was set up for the field goal. They would have won the game. That was the game winner right there. So
I've got to say, Melbourne have always, you can rely on them to win those games they're meant to win. But of late, there'll be games that they're dropping that, most people think they're going to win.
well, out of all the games they've won, I think they've won 5 or 6 in a row. They were all teams out of the 8. And that's happened a few times this year where teams have gone on these big runs. But when you sort of look into it, you realise that some of these teams at the bottom just haven't been able to compete with a better team. So, Manly, like you said, aimed up. They were thorough, fast. Daly Cherry Evans was busy. They were good.
He's out. Lachlan Galvin is in. There's a lot of pressure on his shoulders, but that pass showed that he backs himself, and Cam's obviously just given him the licence to play what he sees.
Their attack was a little bit clunky. I think what contributed was the really slippery ground. But in the end, they got the win. Great game of footy. Really great game. Could have gone either way, but in the end, the young halfback stands up and wins them the game. But, they're clunky. They're going to get better. They'll get better as the season goes on.
That's their home ground, though. If anything they should know is
How slippery
the
it is.
conditions are, so they should be adjusting to that better than anyone. The thing I saw, I didn't see much of the game actually, but he ran more than anyone. He ran further than anyone. He tackled more than anyone. I mean, the halves. Missed less tackles than the halves. Scored a try, set up a try. It's a good game. He's done so well for a kid his age to nail it at the death like that. That's unreal.
Well, I think it's a big pressure release for him.
But you're right, he's under so much pressure. He's become clickbait. every time his name's here, I'd say people are just going, clickbait? Is that it? What do you say?
That's what happened.
Yeah,
And it's,
Clickbait.
that's a difficult task at that age to come into a club, and when the club was, sitting on top of the table. So for that moment in that game, I think that'll be a huge confidence boost for him.
Shane Flanagan
Awesome.
was not happy after the match. He blew up about a couple of moments in particular. So there was one, Luciano Leilua was penalised. Jacob Carraz, Flano believes, didn't make an attempt to get to his feet and to be balanced before playing the ball. Do you think it was a fair penalty?
I think it's one of those 50-50 sort of ones. We've seen it go the other way. Look, there was crowding there,
He puts his left
but
foot
we've
forward.
seen them go the other way. So I can understand his frustration.
The only thing I say, the ball goes out before he actually falls over. Like, Carraz needs to be smarter. That's, him falling over, that's ridiculous. And the refs are doing a good job there. If you're trying to make a gig of the game, then they're pulling you up. So, but the ball comes out before he actually falls over, and Luciano puts his left foot forward. What he does do, he puts the referee under pressure to make a decision. So it didn't go, it went against
It wasn't intentional, but his foot goes into the ruck, and that's,
But we've seen it go the other way.
Yeah, totally.
It's one of those
Totally
50-50s.
Mate, his left foot. What's he doing with his left foot other than... Like, it's a trained play. Like, everyone's doing it. Like, that's what they're trying to do, is put the referee under pressure, and the person playing the ball, it just went against him. There's heaps of those calls during the game.
They just can't win the tight ones, St George Illawarra. I think they've lost 4 games by 1 point or less. And then last night, the last minute and a half, Jethro scores in the corner. Jethro.
6 games, it is also by less than a try. So they've been in... They're just sitting out of the 8, and I think they're pretty much...
You
How
can
good was
almost
that
put a
put
line
down?
through them.
Yeah.
He was a good Gutho, as always, and Sloan. Look at the balance. It's beautiful
look at
to
him
watch.
run.
Look at the stride.
Oh, that's awesome.
Once again, there's a player there. Look, he makes some boo-boos and made that last boo-boo error defensively. But geez, there's a player in Sloan.
Well, if you look at a lot of the Bulldogs' tries, they're all out wide against, I guess, probably some of those more inexperienced outside backs. Here again,
You just can't get up past the football. You can't get up past the ball player there. He had to hold his nerve. He made his decision for Galvin, and it was a pretty simple one. Great pass in the end.
Now that we've seen what Galvin can do when he gets his shot and the Dogs have got troops back, how far do you think they can go?
I don't know if they can win it. I don't know if there's another gear, if they can go up a gear. I don't know if they've got that X-factor player like a Munster. Look, they'll compete, but I don't know in the big games if they've got enough points in them.
Time will tell.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think Galvin will help their attack in terms of a bit of variety. But I agree. I think they need to find some second phase footy. You know, if you're a team that's defensively very good, but you use a lot of set moves to get your points, then you've got to find some ad-lib football, and that comes off an offload.
Just watching him play,
And
I just love watching him.
How does the dream end?
yeah.
Oh, he plays for Newcastle.
I often think that Joey just spends his whole weekend thinking about Izzy Katoa.
I just love watching him play. I just sit there and just watch him off the ball. But the Dolphins have got it right.
I find it interesting though. Teams are starting to adapt to him a little bit, and they're just working out a way. What they did here was really smart. They sort of went from shifting from long sides to actually biting off some metres and going down short sides, and they come up with a couple of tries doing that.
They set up both sides of the field, and they're always looking to attack at any part of the field. I think they've got the stat is that they've scored the most tries from the other end of the field.
Yeah, well, them in Melbourne.
He's just always thinking, where's the opportunity, where's the space, or where's the overlap? We're getting the ball there.
They came back, the Cowboys, but then in the end, Katoa keeps playing. Look at the support play. But the Cowboys' edge defence, in particular their right edge, they just weren't working together. It looked like they were short of numbers all the time.
Well, I think the week before when the Sharks got up in their face, I think the coach might have looked at that and said, well, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
If you're changing your system week to week, that's where players get a little bit confused, and I just don't think they executed the system they wanted to execute on the night.
For Todd Payten, I mean, what's probably one of the most frustrating things is the fact that the difference between their best footy and worst footy is monumental. They've got the squad that when they put it together, they can do some damage. But for some reason, whether it's confidence, whether it's communication out there, like, what do you think it would?
You've got to get your defence right. So if you don't get your defence right, you're putting pressure on your attack to always find points. So they've got to fix that. They're the worst in the competition defensively. So if they get that in order, then they're taking the pressure off their attack, then the players can relax a bit, and that's when you'll get the best football out of them.
Is he under pressure, Toddy Payten?
Coaches are always under pressure.
That's a good answer.
He's losing his hair.
Well, he said
Beard hair.
last week that he's staying up at night thinking about how to fix it. So he's...
Why would you do it to yourself? Oh, yuck.
Could be dreaming like Andrew about
Izzy Katoa. That sounds much better.
Well, when the narrative starts to talk about his
Yeah.
position there, then the pressure's on, and
Yeah.
then you get beaten. 43 points. There's still, there's no at the moment. There's just no improvement in where they need to improve for him to, I guess, silence some of the critics.
They also have a lot of players out. They had a couple of blokes out from New Rico's early. They all, looking at the outs, they had 9 out as well as the Dolphins. So, they've been battered as well.
What about for the Sharkies? A great win over the Roosters, but I think we've spoken about him over the last couple of weeks. Blake Brayley in particular. His running game this year, about 6 weeks or so ago, he gave a great interview and said he almost had to rewire his brain to think run first, and he's been really focusing on that, and it is so obvious out there.
It's the simplest way to attack, and it's the most dangerous, out of dummy half. If your big men are rolling forward, this one in particular there, identified the one marker, and that player going back on side, and he followed him out. Classic dummy half play.
When we talk about ruck momentum in the game, and a dummy half that gets out and runs helps that. Badiris was, all the good hookers were the ones that came out and ran, and that got on the back foot, off the back of that. Someone like a halfback like Andrew Johns got off that, and that's Nico Hines' game's going to get better when Brayley's running.
They just look a totally different team when he runs.
Yeah.
Totally different team. Do you reckon he was held here?
What do you reckon?
I think he gave a 6 again. He must have been offside originally, so played the advantage, but he looked like he was held.
They're humming, aren't they, the Sharkies? I mean, there's always been the knock on them that they can't challenge the top 4 teams,
This is the test. It's going to be the test. Coming to the semis, have they got the X factor and another gear in them? But I think with Brayley running out of dummy half, they look a much more dangerous team. Trent Robinson actually blew up about that, thought he was held. Once again, I think it was a bit of a 50-50. But the game was on the line right till the end, but in the end, Cronulla got him.
Well, I think the Roosters made 17 errors.
They made a lot of errors.
Yeah, I just think, if you're going to win those tight games against quality competition, you can't make that sort of error rate.
Freddie, were you surprised no Sandon Smith and they went with Chad Townsend? I was scratching my head about it.
Yeah.
Sandon Smith, we saw him Anzac Day, put a clinic on.
He got man of the match. It was hard to understand why he did that. Like whether Sanders not there next year, I'm not sure what the
Is
future.
he perhaps carrying an injury?
No, he's been playing New South Wales Cup.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
And as a
Chad's
half-
been playing. Well, Chad's been playing New South Wales Cup. I don't know if they're going any good.
As a halfback, it's hard to play New South Wales Cup sometimes
Yeah.
than playing NRL. But that was I was surprised by that decision.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. What unfolds next year? Is Daly Cherry Evans going there or is he not?
Oh,
Wait and
yes,
see.
that saga continues.
Yes, it continues. So too the saga at the Newcastle Knights.
If he is, why are they delaying the announcement?
I don't know. Well, normally the media put that much pressure on either DCE or the Roosters to make an announcement if that's the case. So, I don't know, the media's gone light.